Back in either my freshman or sophomore year of high school, I discovered a mysterious debut film known as Eraserhead. I was too disturbed and too weirded out to actually watch the full movie, but the clips I saw of it have stuck inside my head ever since. Cut to my senior year, where I rediscover him, and I decide to watch Blue Velvet for the first time. I was blown away by the hauntingly dark and somewhat hypnotic tone of the film, and have been a fan of his ever since. David Lynch is a filmmaker who has no doubt brought a very unique vision to the game. Watching a film directed by him feels more akin to having an experience, and that is mainly due to the dreamlike and otherworldly tone they exhibit. It isn't always easy to summarize the films from him, but that's part of why I've always liked his work. Because there's just so many ways to interpret his films, which is part of the fun of watching them. The best part is that your interpretation might change with each watch due to how highly abstract they are. I think the best way to watch a David Lynch movie is to keep an open mind, like they say in Mulholland Drive, because a lot of times people might become frustrated due to how confusing Lynch's films can be, but if you go into it not expecting a clear answer, then that will make the film viewing experience a lot better. Also, due to the surreal and dreamlike vibes his films demonstrate, it's best to watch them at night with all the lights off to truly bring out the otherworldly feel they have. Of course, you might not always have a clear answer, and that's okay too, because in the end, it's sometimes about the experience and emotion you felt when watching it. I think part of what makes these films feel so otherworldly is how they don't follow the standards of traditional films and instead go in their own unique direction. Part of that has to do with not only with Lynch's stellar sound design, but the stunning cinematography and prestigious lighting of his films. Watching the opening of Eraserhead and seeing Jack Nance's face slowly hover over the film's title instantly transports you into that world because you immediately are thrown off by the strange ambience radiating off the film. Yet that strangeness and that ambience is what keeps you watching due to how absurd it truly is. Another thing that makes this film feel so much like a dream is how not only do they not always follow a linear timeline, which can simulate the rapidly changing narrations that dreams can have, but also due to the strange events that unfold in his movies, like the people becoming small and then big again in Mulholland Drive, or the mysterious woman inside the radiator in Eraserhead. Both of these things are only some of the absurd aspects of those movies, and yet a part of me feels as though they might have a deeper meaning due to how significant of a role they have had in those films. Yet I'm still deciding what they mean, which ultimately makes me want to watch his films again and again. And that's part of what makes his films so rewatchable, not only because of the fact you might find more meaning while watching them, but your experience may change when watching. I, for example, viewed Mulholland Drive as more of a ghost story when I first saw it, but then on my second viewing, it played out more dark and tragic since I paid more attention to Naomi Watts' character. His films also have such a different feel with each watch, and I think part of that has to do with how one will pick up a new meaning every time they watch them. I also find myself drawn to the hypnotic tone of his films. They have such an absurd, surreal vibe, which is part of what draws me in because they are so bizarre in the best possible way, that I find myself glued to the screen because it gives me a chance to explore a unique world from the one we are used to. And his films are also surprisingly relaxing since the dreamlike tone they have can be eerily calm. David Lynch has given me so much faith in myself as an aspiring filmmaker, because his films demonstrate that you don't always have to follow what films normally do, and instead experiment with different ways to make a film, and ultimately discover some new ways to explore it. Because of this, I became curious about the many possible things I could explore when making a movie, and I had even more confidence knowing that they can still be good, even if the meaning isn't altogether clear. So, back in 2019, I directed a film called Falling Triangles, a film taking heavy inspiration from his movies. I released it on my YouTube channel this year along with my longest short film, Blank Sentience, which was also heavily inspired by his movies. After digging around for it, David Lynch has expressed such a deep passion for making art and creating films, and since I have tried out filmmaking, I bet I can more than understand where that passion comes from. Because part of the fun of filmmaking, as I might have said, is experimenting with new ways you could craft a film and to tell your story, which can sometimes lead you to discovering something really cool, which only adds to how awesome the game truly is. Like when I used Wendy's barbecue sauce, their sauce is a little darker, therefore helping it look more real. As blood in Blank Sentience, you could tell it was obviously blood barbecue sauce if it were in color, but I discovered that shooting it in black and white and lowering the contrast can help darken it a bit, which gave it a more authentic look. And that the amazing feeling you get when you finally finish a project and the sense of triumph that comes with it, also great due to the immense feeling of victory you will have, especially given the fact that you have created something that is uniquely yours, which gives you an extra special feeling. Overall, David Lynch is probably the most important filmmakers of our time, not only due to his heavy influence on other filmmakers, but also due to the fact that his work demonstrates that a film doesn't always have to have a clear answer to be watchable. His passion and love for the craft is sometimes something that all filmmakers, aspiring or not, should have, because it gives you a sense of optimism when making a film, and therefore leaves you rarely feeling frustrated because of the many alternatives you could explore if something isn't going right with your movie, and will therefore make the experience of filmmaking so much greater. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and sub for more content.